Hello everyone, welcome to Wicked West Books. My name is Meg.
I'm Lee.
This is Kestrel, and today we are talking about Slayer, a Buffyverse story. Do you remember the author's names right off the top of your head?
Christopher Golden and Amber Benson.
Yes. This is an Audible exclusive, so we obviously listened to the audiobook of it. Just got done like an hour ago.
Yeah, it was really good.
I found it kind of boring.
It was, but it was nice to hear all the voice acting and everything.
It was nice to hear the voice acting, but Buffy without visual action or even descriptive action, I found it boring.
They did what they could with what they had to work with.
I mean, they did what they could with the medium. I just don't like it in that medium.
I mean, that's fair. It reminded me of old classic radio shows. That's what they were going.
Something I never got into.
I know.
I gave it as low as you can give it and still be a 4-star rating.
I think mine ended up being 4.5.
But if I look over at my CAWPILE, it actually is right on that 4-star rating. If I changed anything lower, it wouldn't be 4 stars.
I see. Alright, what did you think about the characters?
The characters... I love Spike, and Spike was good. I loved Drusilla, and Drusilla was good. The new Slayer, Adira, I liked her quite a bit. Giles kind of fell flat for what I expected him to be. I was never the biggest Anya fan. The little yappy dog was annoying after a while. It was cute to start, but then the yapping throughout 9 hours worth of show was an awful lot. Tara was also never one of my favorites.
I mean, that's fair.
And as much as the one who sounded most like her character still is, I'm only thinking of her real name, Charisma. What is? Cordelia.
Cordelia, yeah.
I can't believe her being a Slayer. To me, it's just unbelievable. Her voice, having heard it for so many years as the preppy, not even friend, made her extremely hard to believe that she was a Slayer.
I mean, I just looked at it as a what-if world.
It was just a what if I couldn't believe. I mean, I can believe that it would happen, but listening to it, I didn't believe it.
I mean, that's fair. I enjoyed it well enough. I'll admit that much. The characters, for me, I thought they all did pretty good. Giles is in a way different place, and he's quite a bit older, so I can see why he's different that way.
It just... I didn't hear him and hear Rupert Giles. I think he, toned down the accent or something. It just didn't match my memory of Giles.
I thought it was pretty spot on, honestly. James Marsters as Spike, he did a fantastic job. I think all the characters reprised their roles fairly well.
They did. It's just a lot of the characters that weren't ones that I really liked.
I did find it interesting they had mentioned, I think the boy that Cordelia had liked that died was Jesse. That was the vamp for the first episode.
Is this true?
So, I mean, they tied it up really well, or tied stuff in really well to make it a little bit better. Atmosphere, I mean...
As you can see, I gave it a 7. I think that's partially I think that's almost all the medium was set the atmosphere for the whole book, and I didn't like the medium, so I think that's where my atmosphere kind of falls so short.
Yeah, because I rated it higher than that, but I like the medium well enough, and I like how they put the background sound effects to kind of put you in that area.
If we hadn't been listening to it together, I would have gone through the whole thing at 2 times speed, and it might have irritated me less.
Fair. They also would have sounded like squirrels, though.
Except that I watch live shows at 2 times speed.
I know, I just don't enjoy it. I enjoy it for most books whenever it's a character voice that I know. I want to hear the character voice as I know it. So, writing, I thought it was fairly well written.
I thought it was way drawn out more than it needed to be.
It could have been quicker, but the way they had it set up was almost like 8 individual episodes.
I mean, it was like a season with even just a couple extras so that it's not one villain that you are all focused on for the entire thing. but I'm not used to listening to 9-hour audiobooks and them being 9 hours long.
Neither am I.
I usually listen to it at close to, if not 2 times speed. So it felt longer than it probably actually was. And again, that element of not being able to see the action, only hear it, and the comments they would make about action that was happening wasn't something I found super enjoyable.
Well, I mean, I see your points there, because it's a different medium. So if you don't prefer the medium, it's
I really don't prefer the medium.
For me, the writing, like I said, I thought it was fairly strong. You had Amber Benson in there who played Tara. She clearly is still a big fan of the show and knows her stuff. And then you have Christopher Golden. I know he's written several books outside the Buffyverse, but he's also written Buffy the Vampire Slayer books. So it felt like there was a good blend there. Mm-hmm. They managed to pull together an interesting story.
It was an interesting story, even though, I kind of wish that Buffy had been in it, even just, like, I don't know, just that she'd been acknowledged more.
So you're wanting more of Buffy in it.
I understand why, like, they wrote it in a way that it makes sense for her not to be there, but for her not to have even, like, been acknowledged as off doing something.
She was several times.
They mentioned in the beginning, but it was never a concrete "where is she" kind of thing.
They mentioned Europe. They didn't say where in Europe, but
it was too vague for me. Is my point.
It was more of, she's out of the picture right now. These are the characters we have here.
I know, but I felt like she could have been acknowledged more. I felt like she maybe should have had a part in it, like maybe a phone call. I don't.
It was probably due to they probably were like, what actors can we get for the book? Mm-hmm. Let's do that.
Which ones will come back for actually doing this? And I imagine she didn't want to, but I didn't like it.
So the plot for a what if story, I felt the plot was pretty good. It threw a lot of little things. I think they could have tightened it down a little bit.
Definitely.
And they could have enhanced it with a few additional things, especially if they had more characters to work with that were willing to come back. There could have been a lot more. So it's a minor spoiler, but I think everyone knows he probably wouldn't come back. I wish Xander came back at least in some capacity. I thought that could have been an interesting story.
See, even just like throwing in a clip of what Buffy Summers was in the middle of doing, like someone imagining, I wonder what she's doing right now, and then getting like a 2-paragraph clip from Buffy Summers' mind on what she was doing would have helped. Because at the beginning it's a fun premise, but the longer it went on, the more I kind of got bored with it.
So I'm gonna have a hot take here. I actually kind of like Cordelia more for the Slayer than I did Buffy.
I can see that. I'm just too used to her being normal Cordelia to make that adjustment in my head.
Well, you never watched any of the Angel show.
I watched most of it.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
You never mentioned you watched it.
I watched most of it. I didn't watch all of it, but I did watch most of it.
I figured it'd be kind of up your
I tried to, because I don't like starting in the middle of things, so I tried to watch Angel all the way through to the point where Spike joined it because I wanted more Spike. I gave up maybe, honestly, a few episodes before Spike became a permanent member because I was just bored with it because it's Cordelia and Angel, and I'm not the biggest fan of either of them. Her watcher boyfriend, whose name I forget at the moment, like Wendell or something? Wesley. I liked him more than them.
He had one of the better character arcs, though, out of the whole universe.
He definitely grew a lot.
Intrigue. You didn't find it very intriguing?
To start with, yes. But, like I said, the longer it went on, I think it was just drawn out too long. They could have cut, like, an entire episode worth of stuff, and it probably would have worked better for me.
I wish they would have left the monkey out. That ate up so much time. I get he was a plot device.
So that you can hear her talk about her feelings without it just being insanity and talking out loud. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I wish they would have just done an inner monologue or something at that point.
Spike got one, so yeah, why couldn't they have just given one to Tara?
Yeah, just have her talk. talking to multiple personalities inside of her. That would have made more sense, I think.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been as Buffy-ish, probably.
Probably not, no.
But, I mean, you spend so much time with the monkey that it's like, can we move on?
And I kind of felt that same thing for Jasper, for the dog.
Yeah, I did like that the monkey got its own credit at the end, though.
That was ridiculous.
I thought that was kind of cute. Logic. I thought it was fairly well logicked out for what they did.
It had some weird, like, mumbo-jumbo things, like them getting combined all into one creature.
That could have been cut.
And then the fact that the magic wasn't behaving the way it was supposed to. I'm not sure what...
Now, that was interesting because you gotta think if they're going across dimensions, in that world, it's possible.
I mean, yeah, I didn't really see what plot point it gave that her magic had to go kind of crazy. I don't see what that did for the overall plot.
It's probably so, it gave Spike superhuman strength for a while and instant healed him, basically. So there was a kind of a plot point. I wish the superhuman strength, or the strong for him even would have stuck around.
But also Giles at the end mentions a spell that healed something that was killing a character. So that wasn't, the super magic wasn't something that they had to rely on.
I think
when there was a normal magic spell that would work.
I think the only reason that spell worked is they already had everything in place. It probably would have meant massive setup.
Maybe. But he would have healed anyway. They could have just left him disemboweled and set up the spell.
They could have, but it was more of, we gotta get it going quick. It felt like there was much more of a time crunch at the beginning of the book.
It did, and that completely ran out by the end, and that might have been a good reason for why it got really boring, is that it didn't feel like the time crunch was necessary anymore.
So, I get that they needed multiple points of view. It would have been nice, though, if they kind of just stuck with one character per episode or something like that.
Maybe.
Or even just did Spike's point of view. I think he had probably the most interesting point of view out of all of them.
Yeah, but when you've got him playing double agent, and if you want, especially the audience, to wonder if which side he's actually on, you can't be inside his head.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Well, you didn't enjoy it very much.
No, it's a 6. It could have been higher. It could have. I don't know.
I enjoyed it because I liked how they took like 2 elements out of the original series and just turned them and then twisted it. I was like, okay.
2 elements?
No Buffy in it.
Mm.
And it didn't sound like they had... And Cordelia actually being the Slayer and actually having a full story arc that's not just her being vapid and then learning. I found that pretty interesting. And just seeing how that one little point just kind of mushroomed off, because they don't mention Xander at all.
They did.
When?
When they very first met Cordelia.
Oh, yeah.
Or no, actually it was Anya. It was in relation to Anya they mentioned, and I think Cordelia said something about, he was weird and he died.
Oh, yeah. So,
near the beginning.
Nothing really there. Willow got vaguely mentioned a couple of times.
Did she? Because I didn't remember her being mentioned at all until the very end.
No, they mentioned...
I mentioned her.
No, they mentioned her in the book, like, she's off in Europe doing something right now, or in London or something like that.
Yeah. The Adira doing kind of the fangirl breakdown of what they were doing, she did mention Willow, now that I think about it.
Yeah, so I mean, they mentioned a lot of characters. They didn't mention Angel at all.
Until the end, they kind of did.
Not really.
In that same kind of fandom way, I think Adira may have mentioned him once, but also in the very end, Drew was going to go off and look for Angelus.
So I wonder if he has a soul in that dimension or not.
Probably not.
I was about to say, if he has a soul, that could be an interesting idea to work with. If he doesn't, then that could be...
I mean, he might. He had a soul before Buffy became the Slayer.
It's possible, but here's the thing. There's so many little things that changed. That could have been one of them. He might not have got cursed. Overall, I've enjoyed it quite a bit. Like I said, seeing like the little differences in the worlds was kind of fun. So depending on how well the book did, and who else they can get in to come in and do voice acting,
I'd be willing to give a second one a shot, even though I wasn't super impressed with this one.
I could see him actually bringing in Willow.
Willow, who is one of my favorite characters from the original show, probably wouldn't hurt.
I don't know if he'd be willing to do it, but bringing back in Angel would be interesting.
It would be interesting.
But I think him and Sarah Michelle Gellar I think they're just done with the series for the most part.
They probably are.
Bringing in Giles was interesting. Hearing vampiric evil Giles at the end of the book was really cool. I was like, oh, they never really mentioned how he died. I wonder if they even know he got turned.
And they probably don't, and they kind of set that up with Cordelia's little sister.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows she died, but only Adira knows, because Cordelia told her, that she was turned into a vampire and was killed later.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised they didn't try to bring it... Well, that could be a plot point later on. I guess they could probably bring in Willow and work the same spell they worked in the other world and try to multiply the Slayers.
Doubtful.
Yeah. Doubtful, but interesting. Drusilla remaining alive, I mean... She's one of the hardest characters to kill in that world.
In that world, yeah.
Well, in the Buffy world, too. She just kept on coming back for a while.
I didn't like what they changed with her. I liked her being more crazy in the original Buffyverse.
She was still pretty crazy, but...
Yeah, but...
The way they talked about her, she was more
acknowledged
acting.
the fact that it was a little bit of crazy that was embellished because it caused people to underestimate her.
Yeah. Which, I mean, is interesting. Spike kind of falling for her again was kind of fun. They actually had me going a little bit. I was like, would he? It's Spike and Drusilla. He probably would.
My thought on if he was actually going to go to her side wasn't so much if he would change his mind for her. It was if something about being in this other world made him more like the Spike from that world.
I mean, that's fair. They brought in the little ring, though, that allowed him to walk in sunlight, be staked, and stuff like that. I thought that was interesting.
Well, I mean, he decided to stay in that world, but I thought that might just mean there's two vampires who can walk during the day in the original Buffyverse for a while.
Well, I mean...
If he had gone back, he'd just kept that one for himself, and then Angel has his own, and voila.
Well, Angel already destroyed that one, though.
Nah. Remember, I watched most of Angel, not all of it.
Oh, I know. He destroyed it the same episode, though. There, you got it.
No.
Yeah, but, I mean, that was kind of interesting that Spike... I guess he still has the ring. I lost track of who had it at the end.
He got it at the end.
So I guess he can kind of live a semi-normal life if he wanted to.
If he wanted to.
If Cordelia gives him a chance.
Nah, probably not.
Yeah. You never can tell. He's wearing her down already.
If that's the way it goes, I'm really not going to be interested in that.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Overall, I mean, I thought it wasn't the best thing I ever read, but I thought it was a strong...
Oh, it's definitely not the best thing you've ever read, because you tried to read it before, and you got bored with it.
Yeah, I thought it was a good fanfic, though.
Yeah, that's the issue, is it reads more like fanfic than actual Buffy.
Well, I mean, they don't have the same writers or anything. They got two talented writers, but it doesn't have the same... It has a lot of the similar beats, but it doesn't have the same charm as the show did.
It is lacking the charm. So for my choice next month, I'm going to pick the next book in the Patricia Briggs Mercy Thompson novels. It comes out on the 18th, and that book is called Winter Lost. And the last book in the series, as you can tell by all of the stuff sticking out of it, we went to the book signing.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was a great book signing. She probably will not be coming back to the area next month for this book release.
We can look it up later.
But yes, this next book, I have no idea where the cut off at the bottom of the camera is. The next Mercy Thompson novel comes out, and I'm excited for it. Do I know anything about the plot? I wish they would turn off their music. Do I know anything about this book coming out? Not a single thing. Do you know anything about it?
I know that you wanted to read it, that's why I put it on the Audible wish list.
You like Mercy too. She's not your favorite, but you like her too.
I like urban fantasy pretty well.
And this is a decent,
No,
if kind of basic one.
I don't know. Dresden reads more like a crime thriller almost in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Hers reads more as like a fantasy.
The urban kind of fantasy, but yeah.
Yeah, it has. They're paced differently is the big difference.
I mean, I'm always impressed with Patricia Briggs. The fact that every single book is only around 300 to 350 pages, but she manages to fit so much story into it.
Yeah.
With proper foreshadowing and everything.
Yeah, I mean, she does an amazing job. I won't take anything away from her. She is...
Her writing is really, really good.
I would say I have 3 urban fantasy authors I really like to read. Jim Butcher, Kevin Hearn, and Patricia Briggs.
I should make you read Magic Bites by Alana Andrews, because I think you'd actually like her more
Really?
than Patricia Briggs.
Hmm.
And I say her, Alana Andrews is a married couple.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that before.
He's ex-military.
They've been on my radar a little bit, because you've mentioned them so much.
I'm rereading them now. I'm the Kindle that I had over here. I'm reading book 5.
Oh, I forgot one for my
In a
urban
week.
fantasy. So there's 4 for my my favorite ones. Larry Correa's in there too.
But the buddy. Oh,
Hi.
hi, Happy.
And he is purring up a storm right now.
He's getting affection. He loves when he gets affection. Winter Lost next month, which is the newest book in a very long series. So probably no one will want to watch the discussion video.
Not until they're done with the series.
So, spoilers ahead for this. Like I said, the books are short, but if you only read Mercyverse, as you say, I think we're on like 15 or 16, something
I think
like
14. I think Winter Lost is going to be 14.
that. It will be book 15.
Oh, really? Okay, I was off. Sorry.
And then, so there are also 6 Alpha and Omega series, which takes place parallel to Mercy. You don't have to read them for everything to make sense, but there is a big event in Alpha and Omega that affects a change in attitude in the series.
I love that. What happens there?
I know.
It's like the best thing ever to happen in the book.
It involved a lot of flailing for me. That, I think, is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have opinions on the Buffyverse, leave them below. Feel free to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already.
Yeah, do all that stuff. Do all the fun YouTuber stuff that we have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a wicked day.
Bye.